Donald Trump has spent the past couple of years trying to interfere with the census, with explicitly racist plans to not do what the Constitution calls for, which is to count everyone for the purposes of allocating political power. It's extremely explicit about that in a way that we've gone over many, many times. He has been blocked along the way many times from doing that. He's tried to add citizenship questions. That has been blocked. Then he announced, as we're going to talk about, that he is going to just subtract the undocumented immigrants, which he is neither allowed to do by law and would be impossible, but that isn't necessarily going to stop him. But now they've got another thing that they're cooking up, because with 93 days until the Census Bureau plans to stop tallying the country's residents at the end of October, roughly 4 out of 10 households nationwide have yet to be included in the constitutionally mandated count that is used to redistribute congressional seats, Electoral College votes, and federal funding among states. Now, that is close to half of all households still haven't been counted, and they are saying we can't do it for a number of different reasons. One of which is they have been defunded specifically to interfere with their ability to do it. Secondly, we're in a pandemic, which makes it harder. So, Democrats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives have introduced legislation, including the House Democrats' latest coronavirus relief bill, that would grant 4-month extensions to the legal deadlines in response to requests in April by the Census Bureau and the Commerce Department. They're saying we need more funding, we need more time so that we can do our job, which is again mandated by the Constitution. But that is not going to stop the White House, which did not respond to NPR's question about whether the White House supports the Census Bureau's request to extend the census deadlines by 4 months. A Trump administration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity did tell NPR that a timely census simply means that it's delivered within the statutory timeline. Now think about the only thing that could possibly mean. That's saying we have a timeline that has to happen. It needs to be delivered. Is it finished? I don't know. It's done.
Doesn't really matter, does it? Well, actually, it's perfect storm. You want it that way. It's obvious. It's weird that this has to be, apparently in the administration's mind, this has to be a solid timetable. We have to stick to the timetable because this is the way it's been mandated. This is the way it's been put in place. We have to continue on down this road. We just talked about earlier today how Donald Trump is floating this ridiculous idea to postpone the election or delay it, to delay the election. How come that doesn't stick with its own point and stick at that date because it's an American value?
Yeah.
Live up to the Constitution and the rule of law. No, it doesn't matter when it actually affects him negatively for something to be held on the day that it's supposed to be held on. And he's looking real bad right now. Again, none of it is surprising. Also, none of it is there's no veil over anything anymore. It's just straightforward. So this is what we do want to happen. Stick to that date. This is what we don't want to have happen. Let's push that date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this is the latest effort. There's many, including the one that we talked about last week. Here is the next 10 to 20 years of the Republican Party. They're caught between two forces, what their donors want and what the Constitution allows, which is representative democracy. And they're going to choose between one of those two things. Sorry, they've already chosen between one of those two things. The Republican Party does not support representative democracy. Free and fair elections, direct election of senators, those sorts of things. So, and I know, I've got Trump derangement syndrome. I'm just crazy. I'm just a crazy leftist who's worried about these sorts of things. No, they are going to turn more and more away from representative democracy, and their base is going to cheer them on every step of the way. Their base, not their constituency, because that implies that they're still getting votes. Their base wants power. They want Republicans to still have power. They want that far more than they want to live in a democracy. That is simply the case, and you don't have to take my word for it. There are polls asking whether people support representative democracy versus some sort of autocratic government, and you can see it year by year switching for conservatives. They are more and more against actual democracy, and willing to say it, by the way, which means that far more aren't willing to say it but would go along with it. They just don't actually support representative democracy. And for the Republicans to compete and not have to change their positions, which they can't do, and keep their donors happy, they're going to suppress the vote, try to manipulate the census, gerrymander, all of that. And they're doing it right now. Delay elections, cancel elections, God only knows. So get ready for that. This might seem like a boring story about the census and deadlines and appropriations and things like that. This is the battleground that the fight for democracy is being waged on. And there are many battles, and it's on us to track them. It's hard, it's onerous. I'm tired. JR was just saying he's tired. I'm sure you're tired too. But this is what's going on. Do we want a democracy, and what will we do to make sure that we have it?
I remember, the first couple of notifications for the census I got in the mail. They ended up on the mail table. I'm sure everyone has a section in their house where mail starts piling, and like, oh, I haven't opened that yet. And then I started getting like the third notice said, "This is your legal obligation to do so." Weird. I get those types of flyers that tell me it's a legal obligation to answer to the census and let them know who you are and where you are and all that stuff, household things. But for some reason, there's no legal obligation for the president or for the people that's surrounding him to do their part to make sure it's accurate and everything is coming into play.
Yeah.
It's our legal obligation to do our part, but it's not theirs. It's the story of America at this point in our existence. Everyone else do their part. People in power, maybe not. If it helps me, yeah. If not, no.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.